Hi, I'm Skyla. For as long as I can remember, my father has been difficult. That's the polite way of putting it. My mom calls it his way of showing love. My best friend Zoe calls it what it is: control. Skyla, you can't seriously be okay with how he treats you, Zoe said, sprawled across my bed while I got ready for my college interview. The man monitors your phone like you're 5. It's not that bad, I replied, though my voice lacked conviction. He just worries. Worries? Zoe sat up, her bracelets jangling. Normal parents worry. Your dad installed a tracking app on your phone without telling you. That's next-level stuff. I applied another coat of mascara, trying to ignore the truth in her words. What am I supposed to do? I'm still living under his roof. You could move in with your mom, she suggested for the 100th time. And listen to him call her an enabler of irresponsibility again? No thanks. The doorbell rang, and I checked my watch. That's Marcus. Dad hired him as my driver, but we both know he's really keeping tabs on me. Your dad hired you a babysitter at 19? Zoe's eyes widened. Wow. Tell me about it, I sighed, grabbing my portfolio. But Marcus is actually cool. He gives me space when I need it, and he's got my back. When I headed downstairs, my father was already interrogating Marcus in the foyer. You'll bring her directly home after the interview, my father stated, not asked. No detours, no exceptions. Yes, sir, Marcus replied professionally. At 35, with his military background and imposing physique, he somehow managed to make sir sound respectful rather than submissive. Skyla, my father turned to me, inspecting my outfit with critical eyes. That skirt is too short for an interview. It's below my knees, Dad, I responded, fighting to keep my voice even. Don't talk back, he snapped, and be home by 5. We have dinner with the Robertsons. The interview's at 3 across town. I might not— 5 o'clock, Skyla, he interrupted. And keep your phone on. I'll be tracking your location. Marcus caught my eye with a subtle look of sympathy as he opened the door for me. Outside, away from my father's earshot, Marcus said, Don't worry about the time. I'll get you there and back safely, however long it takes. Thanks, Marcus, I smiled. I don't know how you stand working for him. I don't work for him, Marcus corrected with a slight smile. The security company I work for has a contract with him, but my priority is your safety and well-being, not his control issues. I didn't realize how significant those words would become later that day, when everything changed. The interview ran long and traffic was brutal. By the time we were heading home, the sky had darkened with storm clouds, and my phone was vibrating nonstop with texts from my father. He's going to lose it, I groaned, showing Marcus the barrage of increasingly angry messages. Let me handle him, Marcus offered, but I knew better. No, that'll make it worse. Just drop me at the corner. I'll walk the last block and tell him the interview went overtime. It's about to pour, Skyla, Marcus frowned. Let me drive you all the way. Please, Marcus. He'll be less angry if I show up alone and apologetic. Reluctantly, Marcus pulled over a block from my house. Call me if you need anything. I mean it. I had barely made it halfway down the block when the skies opened up. By the time I reached our driveway, I was drenched. My father stood in the doorway, his face a storm worse than the one soaking me. Where is your driver? He demanded. I asked him to drop me off, I explained, shivering. I didn't want you to— Get in the car, he ordered, pointing to his Mercedes. What? Why? I'm already home. Now, Skyla. I got in, confused. He drove in silence for 10 minutes, then pulled over on a deserted road lined with trees. Get out, he said coldly. Dad, what are you— You want to make decisions like an adult? Fine. Find your own way home, in the rain, like an adult. Maybe this will teach you to respect my rules. I stood there, rain pelting down on me, watching my father's taillights disappear around the corner. My phone was at 2% battery, and the storm was intensifying. I called Marcus with trembling fingers. Skyla, what's wrong? His voice was instantly alert. My dad. He drove me to Oakwood Road and left me here. Said it would teach me a lesson, I explained, my teeth chattering. What? Marcus's voice sharpened. Stay exactly where you are. I'm coming to get you. My phone's almost dead. I know where Oakwood is. Stay under a tree if you can. I'll be there in 15 minutes. True to his word, Marcus's black SUV appeared 14 minutes later. He jumped out with an umbrella and a blanket, his face a mask of controlled fury. Are you okay? He asked, wrapping the blanket around my shoulders. Just cold, I stammered, and embarrassed. In the car, the heater blasting, Marcus made a call. Elaine? It's Marcus. We have a situation with Skyla. He explained what happened while I huddled under the blanket. My mother's voice exploded from the speakerphone. He did what? Where is she now? Is she okay? I've got her. We're heading to your place, Marcus replied. No, I protested weakly. He'll just come get me and be even angrier. My mother's voice crackled through the speaker. Honey, this isn't a temper tantrum. This is abandonment of a dependent in dangerous conditions. It's illegal. I'm 19, Mom. Hardly a child. You're his daughter and you live in his home, she countered. And what he did was wrong on every level. When we arrived at my mother's apartment, she was waiting with dry clothes and hot tea. Her friend Teresa, a lawyer, sat at the kitchen table with a notepad. This isn't the first incident, is it, Skyla? Teresa asked gently. It's the worst, I admitted. But no, not the first. Tell me about the others, Teresa prompted. For the next hour, I recounted incidents. The time he'd taken my bedroom door off its hinges for coming home 10 minutes late. The summer he'd thrown away all my inappropriate clothes while I was at camp. The countless times he'd read my texts and emails. Why didn't you tell me it was this bad? Mom asked, her face pale. He always said I was exaggerating, that you'd coddle me and I'd never learn responsibility. That manipulative... Mom caught herself. This ends now, Skyla. Marcus, who had been silently observing, finally spoke. I've documented everything I've witnessed while working for your father, including today. And I have dashcam footage from when I picked Skyla up. Teresa looked up sharply. You have evidence? That changes everything? What are you suggesting? I asked nervously. A restraining order for starters, Teresa replied. What he's doing is a pattern of emotional abuse and control. Today's incident crosses into potential criminal endangerment. My father would never accept that, I said. He'd fight it. Let him, Mom said firmly. It's time someone fought back. I can testify about what I've observed, Marcus offered, and I'm willing to risk my job to do it. Why would you do that for me? I asked, genuinely surprised. Because no one deserves to be treated this way, he replied simply, especially not someone as resilient as you've been. Zoe arrived 30 minutes later, bursting through the door with righteous anger. Your dad is blowing up the group chat, asking if anyone's seen you. Should I tell him you're planning his downfall? Zoe! Mom scolded, but I couldn't help laughing for the first time that evening. No, I decided. Let him worry for a change. The confrontation came sooner than expected. My father showed up at Mom's apartment the next morning, pounding on the door. Elaine, I know she's in there. Open this door right now. Mom opened the door but blocked his entry. Lower your voice, Richard. You're disturbing the neighbors. Where is she? He demanded, trying to look past Mom. Skyla, get out here. I stepped into view, Marcus standing slightly behind me. My father's face darkened at the sight of him. You, he spat. You're fired. I hired you to protect her, not undermine my authority. With all due respect, sir, Marcus replied evenly. My job is to ensure Skyla's safety. That's exactly what I did when you abandoned her in a thunderstorm. Abandoned? My father scoffed. I was teaching her a lesson in responsibility. She deliberately disobeyed me. By getting stuck in traffic? I challenged. Or by having an interview run long? Which of those irresponsible acts deserved being left 5 miles from home in pouring rain? Don't twist this around, he warned. If you had followed the schedule. The schedule you set without considering reality, I interrupted. Did you even check the weather before your little lesson? Watch your tone, young lady. Or what? I stepped forward. You'll take away my phone? Lock me in my room? Leave me stranded somewhere worse next time? His face contorted with anger. This is what happens when you spend time with your mother. You become disrespectful and dramatic. Richard, Mom intervened, this isn't about me or Skyla's attitude. This is about your behavior, which has crossed a line. My behavior? He laughed incredulously. I've given that girl everything. A roof over her head, the best education, even private security. And this is the thanks I get? You've given me things, I corrected. But you've taken my freedom, my privacy, and my sense of safety. You have no idea what the real world is like, he sneered. I've been protecting you. Controlling me, I countered. There's a difference. Enough of this nonsense. Get your things, Skyla. We're going home. I'm not going anywhere with you. His eyes narrowed dangerously. Yes, you are. You're still dependent on me. Your tuition, your car, your future, all in my hands. Are you threatening her? Marcus stepped forward. Stay out of this, my father shouted, jabbing a finger at Marcus's chest. This is between me and my daughter. Don't touch him, I warned. Or what? My father mocked, shoving Marcus's shoulder. What happened next was so fast, I barely processed it. My father took a swing at Marcus, who blocked it effortlessly. In his rage, my father lost balance and stumbled forward, grabbing my arm roughly to steady himself. Let go of her, Marcus said, his voice deadly calm. She's my daughter, he shouted, his grip tightening painfully. Richard, Mom gasped. Mr. Harrington, Marcus said with controlled precision. You are assaulting your daughter in front of witnesses. I strongly suggest you let go and step back. Instead, my father yanked me toward the door. We're leaving. Now. No, we're not, I said, trying to pull away. You ungrateful little... His hand raised instinctively. The room froze. He hadn't hit me, but the intent was clear in his raised hand and furious expression. That's it, Mom said, her phone already in hand. I'm calling the police. The police arrived quickly. Officer Chen, a woman with calm authority, separated everyone for statements. I sat in the kitchen with her, rubbing my arm where bruises were already forming. Has your father been physically violent before? She asked. Not really, I admitted. It's been more control, intimidation, emotional stuff. That can be just as damaging, Officer Chen noted, and often escalates to physical, as we've seen today. After taking statements from everyone, the officers escorted my father outside. Through the window, I could see him gesturing angrily as they spoke to him. What happens now? I asked Mom and Teresa. We file for an emergency restraining order, Teresa explained. With multiple witnesses to his threats and physical aggression, plus Marcus's documentation of the abandonment incident, we have a strong case. He'll fight it, I said. Let him, Teresa replied confidently. Courts take a dim view of parents who abandon their children in dangerous situations, regardless of age. 2 weeks later, we sat in a courtroom while my father's attorney argued that he was a concerned parent using tough love to teach responsibility. When it was my turn to testify, I spoke clearly about years of control disguised as protection. Marcus provided his documentation and testimony about the abandonment incident. The judge's expression grew increasingly troubled. Mr. Harrington, the judge finally said, your behavior demonstrates a pattern of control and emotional abuse that has now escalated to physical intimidation. The court grants the restraining order for 1 year. My father stood up, red-faced. This is absurd! She's manipulating the system. Mr. Harrington, the judge warned, control yourself or I'll hold you in contempt. Outside the courtroom, my father approached me one last time, his lawyer trying unsuccessfully to hold him back. Skyla, this has gone too far, he said, his voice softer now. I'm your father. I only wanted what was best for you. Can't we talk about this? I looked at him, really looked at him, perhaps for the first time. No, Dad, we can't. You didn't want to talk when you left me in the rain. You didn't want to talk when you monitored my every move. You only want to talk now because you've lost control. I'm sorry if I went too far, he said, not quite meeting my eyes. But everything I did was out of love. That wasn't love, I replied. And I'm not interested in your version of an apology. You can't just cut me out of your life, he protested. What about college? Your future? I'll figure it out, I said, without your conditions attached. 3 months later, I sat on my mother's balcony with Zoe and Marcus, who had been hired by my mother's company as security, but had become a trusted friend. So, how's freedom treating you? Zoe asked, sipping her lemonade. It's terrifying and wonderful, I admitted. The scholarship came through, and I'm starting classes next month. Have you heard from him? Marcus asked carefully. His lawyer called Mom again, I sighed, wanting to negotiate visitation or something, as if this is a custody battle for a 5-year-old. What did you tell her? Zoe asked. That the ball is in his court. He needs professional help to address his controlling behavior. Until then, the restraining order stands. Proud of you, Skyla, Marcus said simply. I couldn't have done it without all of you, I replied. Especially you, Marcus. Who knew my dad's attempt to control me would lead to the very person who helped me break free? Sometimes the universe has a sense of humor, Zoe grinned. Or justice, I added, watching the sunset paint the sky in colors of hope. So here's my question for you. Have you ever had someone in your life who tried to control you under the guise of protection? How did you handle it?